Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor that we welcome our sixth presenter, the bully, Cathy Goodall.
Some things are just never said.
Hi guys.
No.
So after Salah took up my time and his time, I might have 5 minutes before Karen comes up, okay? So if you guys turn to your workbooks, everything that is on this paper is in your workbook. So I probably won't go through everything, but I think I'll touch on the key points. So a lot of you guys know me from marketing, right? So you're like, what does she know about leadership? So one day, I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I think I'm going to incriminate myself a little bit right now. And I realized that the one thing that I'm really good at is helping other people figure out what they're good at and helping them to execute it. That's not being a bully, right? Absolutely. So tell them they need to stop calling me a bully. Thank you very much. Somebody needs to feel sorry for me. So yes, I was talking to one of my girlfriends, and I started doing some research, and I looked at like Action Coach and Bronson Center and all of these other things, and I was like, these things don't really align with my personal brand. And I was talking to my girlfriend, Carlette, who is away, otherwise she'd be like right here at the front with me. And she said to me, you know, John Maxwell has a certification? And I was like, no way. Anybody in here know who John Maxwell is? Yes. There you go. And so I went and I started to look up about the certification program, and I was like, oh my God, this man is exactly who I want to be, right? And so I signed up for everything, and I called Rochelle, and I'm just like, girl, this, and that, and Rochelle signed up like 2 days after me. So I'm like, hi, Raquel. So Carlette is not here, but she definitely sent her team, so I'm very grateful for that. And so one of the reasons that I'm really passionate about leadership is because I believe that if all of us have a mindset of a leader, then our nation will be a much better place to live. Jeez, Terry, talk about me being emotional. I'm like really emotional right now. I'm used to talking to high school kids and university students about leadership, not big people, right? But it's something that I'm really, really passionate about because I believe that one of the things that is hurting our society immensely is the way that, especially the millennials that Salah talks about, and our younger generation thinks. You know, we live in an age of social media and we're exposed to so much. Right before this, Terry and the rest of the girls were inside the room at the back, and we're talking about exactly that. Our kids are exposed to so much, right? So we need to start to influence them in the right way. I'm more nervous today too because I see my daddy and my mommy, one of my second fathers and my second mother in the audience. And I knew my mother was coming, but daddy, which is Carrie's father, by the way, I never knew him was coming. So when I saw Uncle Len, I was like, oh boy, I can't disappoint him. Okay, so we talk about leadership being a mindset. It's not positional. A lot of people, Salah was talking earlier about managing your managers, right? Because you're a manager or a supervisor, it doesn't make you a leader. And we have to be very, very clear on that. You can have a manager or a supervisor or a managing director, and they don't have the influence that you have. They can't do the things that you do or motivate other people to do the things that you do. So I'm going to tell you a story. There's a company I used to work for, and my managing director came to me one day, and he said to me, I need you to sponsor this football team in one of the garrison communities of Jamaica. So I was like, but I don't think that's a good idea. So he says to me, I need you to sponsor this football team because I need you to go in the garrison and know everybody down there so that when I go there, everybody are going to know me, and them are going to show me the respect. So I was like, but it don't really work like that. I must go to the garrison community so that you will be able to get the respect. That sounds sensible to you? And this was my managing director. So you see what I'm talking about? Leadership is a mindset, right? So we have some myths that people talk about. It's lonely at the top and all of these things, right? Who here believes that it's lonely at the top? I can't hear you whispering. Tell me. Ah. See that one don't need me for talk to you. You know everything already. So, leadership is relational, right? Somebody made a comment about if you bring people to the top with you, then it's not lonely anymore. And that's what leadership is about. Salah said it earlier. The way that Solomon leads, and I can tell you, I call Solomon for everything under the sun. If I decide that I want to leave my work, I call him. If I'm having a problem at my office and I need to figure out how I'm going to maneuver my way through it, I call him. Solomon like to tell people I need to change my diapers, right? And that's how he leads. He talked to you about training his team so that he doesn't have to be there. It's because of how he leads. It's because he believes. He talked about the $15 million investment in his team. And okay, so many of us here don't have $15 million to train our team, but what do we have? Tell me? Ourselves, but what? What about you do you have to contribute to everybody else? Your experience, what else? When I'm whispering, tell me. I hear into my people whisper. Go on. The knowledge that you have. So you have your experience, you have your knowledge, your time. Now, let me tell you something. Naomi spoke about connecting earlier. That's what leadership is about, It's about connecting with people, right? It's about being able to help people to understand that you truly care about them, and then they'll be willing to do anything in the world for you. And it's not just allowing them to believe it, You have to really care about them, right? Because Naomi spoke about authenticity. Everybody can say a fake from a million miles away, right? All right. So, defining moments help you to define your leadership. And if you look in your workbook, I don't even know what page it's on, guys, because I printed this so I could read this. Page what? 21. Right. So we talk about defining moments. So what are some defining moments that we have? We have groundbreakers. And what I call groundbreakers are those new territories that you get to go into that you've never been into before, right? But you carve out a new space for yourself. So when Solomon went into main events, he used to work at Red Stripe and he used to help them execute events, but he never actually did it himself. And he realized that there was a gap. And that's how main event was birthed. He's like, them brother here when me I hire, them can't do the job the way me want it, so guess what? I'm going to do it myself. And that's how main event was birthed, right? And that was clearly a defining moment for Solomon as a leader, right? Then you have those heartbreakers, those things that you come across that, boy, it did rough. And you never know what to do, but you found a way to get through it, right? And we soon talk about the ways that you can handle the pressure and how you deal with criticism and all of those things. Then you have the cloud breakers. Those are the things that just make you soar. You know them? No, I might lose more work. Let me not use that as an example. But my former company that I used to work at, I helped them to create their entire beverage department, right? And for me, I had the privilege of being able to build out my team. Was she gone? Yeah, see, she gone, leave me. One of which is actually here today helping. She's amazing. And we were able to do something that had never been done before at that company. We literally built the beverage department from zero. And I would like to think that you all know it, right? Right, I can't call their name though, because I might lose my current work, okay? But for me, that was a moment where, let me give you another story about my soaring. 6 months into that job, my chairman came to me. Now you can imagine this 70-something-year-old man coming to me and saying that I've been there for 6 months and he doesn't know what I've been doing. I went home and I bawled. You talk about the heartbreakers? Oh God, I was at bottom. Bawl. And I had to go home and I had to give myself a pep talk because I was too ashamed to call anybody to talk to them about it. And I had to stop and I was like, but you know what you're doing though? You know what you're doing and you have a plan. You're starting from zero. You can't expect that you're going to get to 200 in the space of 6 months. So you need to stay focused and you need to execute what you came here to do. 2 months later, so 8 months in, the same like a 70-something-year-old man at the time came to me and he said to me, you are the best decision that I've ever made. I'm sorry. No, he said, I'm sorry. Right? And he said, you are doing an amazing job and you're the best decision that I ever made. Now, that for me was a soaring moment, right? Because you can imagine, setting them ways, and Jamaican man, them not say sorry for fun, right? Okay. And then you have the chart breakers. Those are just the things that you know that you are the trendsetter for, right? Like Solomon. Solomon has created, and PJ, they've created an entire entertainment industry for Jamaica that has set the standard. They are the standard that everybody is trying to meet and break right now. And there's so many of you inside this room that are so talented, but because of the things that Rochelle talked about before, and Salah, and PJ, about the fear and being afraid to fail forward, it's the lessons. And Carrie's going to talk more about that later. Right? So one of the things that leaders face a lot of is criticism. Obviously, the criticism is going to soften a little bit if people like you, right? Right. But how do you deal with criticism? So in your workbook, if you look, I have a clicker, don't it? I should use the screen. Okay, so in your workbook, you'll look at it and you'll see how are the different tools that you can deal with criticism. The first thing that you have to do is know yourself. So I want you guys to take the time to write down what you know you excel at and what you do well, because that's critical. And then you need to write down the things that you need to work on. Because the thing is, you need to know yourself better than anybody else. Right? You need to know what your strengths are. You need to know what your weaknesses are. Because at the end of the day, you don't want nobody come shame you and tell you, say, you're not good at this, this, and that. You're supposed to know that already. Why do you need to know that? You need to know that because, and Solomon, Russia, every single speaker that has come up here, PJ, everybody talked about partnership. They talked about the people that you surround yourself with. They talked about your circle of genius. They talked about your tribe. It's the same exact message. The reason you need to know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are is because you need to know who the people are that you need around you. Now me, like PJ, I'm a creative. I don't have no structure. And like Rochelle said, God bless Keisha Bryan. But you see that little girl right there, sir, in that green suit beside Carrie? Her name is Pettitine. Stand up. Her name is Pettitine Williams. We have Cheeks. Lord of mercy, she's married. I went to high school with her. We've been friends for, I don't want to tell you how long. And she's my business partner. Now, you see, when it comes to numbers, she can do it in her sleep. Me, don't care how wide awake I am, put on some number in front of me, I'm going to get confused. Right? But that's why I have her. That's why I have friends like Naomi, I have friends like Carlette, I have friends like Kimala, and I have people like Solomon. And Naomi talk about your advisory board. Solomon is like chairman of my advisory board. Forget about mother. She don't even coach. She's on the next level. Right? Because I know that I don't know everything. And my strong points are not in every area. So I surround myself with the people that I know are going to make me look good. But Naomi talked about it being mutually beneficial. Right? So you are not going to have people around you that you're just taking from all the time. You need to be pouring into them, and that's a huge part of leadership, building and growing other people, right? And you need to constantly be learning. So all the things that you don't really know, like me, I'm starting to understand numbers a little bit. During my MBA, my cousin Tracy, they had to sit down and hold my hand through the accounting and the finance. But now I'm not so dumb. I kind of get it a little bit. And it's a work in progress. But I know it's something that I have to work on, right? So that's why it's so important to know yourself, know your strengths and your weaknesses so you know who you need to surround yourself with, right? So there are two kinds of criticisms, right? The one them where say, I just saw it go. Through them attack, even though you're vexed, say, I saw it go, right? And again, that's why I said you need to know what your weaknesses are. And then there are the ones that are just unfair. And, Solomon touched on it earlier when he said that at the end of the day, and Naomi said it too, you need to know who you are so that you're not deterred by the unfair criticisms. Right? Imagine if I did curl up and go man ball and I left the work. You can imagine? I would have been there for 6 months and can't find no more work after that. Because then would I say, so she did well at Pepsi, but then she got a last cock flop. No, sir. No. I couldn't manage that. My life would have in shambles right now, don't it? Yeah, so that's why we have to know ourselves, guys, and what our capabilities are. Sometimes you can't depend on somebody else to talk you off the ledge. You have to do it yourself, right? Okay, so now we come to the big people part, right? Where you have to be mature on the throughout criticism, right? You have to be mature, don't get defensive. Listen, my team, and actually this is after I left, I took my team and we did a personal branding workshop with Naomi. And I don't know if it's because they're afraid to answer while I was there, but we sat down and each of us went around the room and we said, what do you think are the things that I need to work on? And that's why, once again, it's so important to surround yourself with the right people. Because sometimes, maybe we don't know ourselves as well as we think we need to. But the people around us that love us, because make sure it's people that have your best interests at heart that you're asking these questions. Don't go ask some random people on the road that them really, them not vested in you and your future. Okay? So you need to ask the people that care about you, what are the things that you think I need to work on? Yes, okay, so I'm very strong-willed and opinionated and good at coercing people into doing things that are right for them. Right? I'm not a bully. But all the people that say that I bully them, including Terry Carell, they know that it's coming from a good place, and everything that I bully them about is something for their best interest, right or wrong? Okay, right. So you need to look for the truth in the criticisms, guys, right? And see if there's some things that you really need to work on. And then, most importantly, and I think we've heard it from every single person that has been up here, what you have to go do? You have to go do it. You have to go make the changes. So remember that the reason for this day and this workshop and how this thing was birthed is because we don't want you guys to leave here and say, oh, wow, the speakers were great. We didn't. Let me tell you something. Poor Ayana never know what she signed up for when she agreed to do this workbook for us. It took her way longer than she thought it would. Why? Because we went through this workbook with pure intention that you guys are going to gain from being here and that you're going to implement the things that you're learning. Carrie, tired for hear me. Salah, tired for hear me. Up to before Carrie reached, I'm like, Virgin, where your presentation day? And he might be like, yo, me send it to Naomi, already love me. Right? Because we want this to be something that you guys are going to be intentional about, that you're going to sit down, you're going to go through the workbooks. You think that Nasha don't have nothing to do? She done cuss us already because she missed her exercise today, right? It's for you guys to actually take action. Without the action, nothing that any of us come up here and do, or any other conference that you go to is going to be able to help you. Right or wrong? Okay. Okay, so some activities that are going to help to strengthen your character. Right? So ask yourself, those defining moments that we talked about earlier, what did I learn? So remember, and PJ talked about failing forward earlier. Experiences are great, especially the ones that don't work out the way that we want it to. Right? But if you're not learning from those experiences, then it's dead. It don't make any sense. Right? And again, it goes back to the doing. We can always know that on the way here, we should have left earlier so that we could have gotten here on time. Next thing, the rain start fall and we end up being 2 hours late to come here. Why? Because we made the choice to leave home at the last minute. So now we're set back 2 or 3 hours and you miss half the day after you spend your good money to come here. Why? Because we made poor choices, right? So the next time now, what you're going to do? You're going to plan for leave earlier. Yes, so you don't reach you again. But if you continue to do the same thing and you continue to leave late, then it would have shown that you didn't learn anything from the previous experience, right? Somebody said it earlier. I think it was one of the girls said it earlier. And we all know the definition of insanity is what? Doing the same thing and expecting to get a different result, right? So remember that in every single thing that we do, we make a choice. There is nothing that we wake up in the morning to do that we don't choose to do. You don't have to go to work. You choose to go. You don't have to bathe. You don't have to brush your teeth. You don't have to comb your hair. You don't have to do any of those things. Right? You don't have to take care of your children. You choose to do those things. So the question is now, when we leave here, what are the things that we're going to choose to do? What are the actions that we're going to choose to take? What are the takeaways that you got from Naomi, from Rochelle, from Naja, from PJ, from Solomon, Carrie, me? that you're going to put into action, right? And, we talked about a level of excellence, doing everything with a level of excellence, and I'm a very strong believer in that, right? I believe, and, Naomi preaches it every day, that we are a representation of ourselves, and that means the things that we say and the things that we do, right? Tamara, what's her name? Tamara asked a question earlier, and I'm going to share a little story with you, right? So my same chairman that told me that, at 6 months, whatever, we had a product that came out from one of our biggest competitors, and it was our cash cow at the time. Kimmy, don't smile with me. And when the product came out, he came to me and he was like rambling all over the place, and he was telling me that, we're not doing anything. These people are coming out with this product and they're coming to compete with us, and we're behaving like it doesn't matter. And everybody started scrambling at my office, from warehouse to production, everybody, because everybody's reacting now to my chairman. Now, sometimes you have to be very strategic in how you manage your managers, right? So you have to think about what the right time is that you're going to approach them, and you have to think about how you're going to do it. So, of course, I allow him to rant, and I allow him to be the boss, and I allow him to flex, right? And then, catch him one away, I'm going to call him and say, may I come check you? And I said to him, listen, I know that you feel antsy. I know that, and you have reason, because, these companies are very big company, and, them have big plans. But one, have you ever tried the product? Not yet. I said, okay, so I'm going to get it for you to try it. I said, two, remember the plans that we presented the week before? And then say yes. I said, maybe we need to go back through those plans. And I said, I think that we need to follow our strategy, execute our plan, but I will monitor them. And I promise you, every week, you'll get a report. I'll tell you what we're doing and what they're doing. So you can feel comfortable that we know what they're doing. And I'm saying, all right, we're going to do it your way. Now, if I reacted, I could have spent my entire marketing budget. 2 months later, the product disappeared from the market, my competitor's product. Suppose I did react. So you have to know the timing is critical, but it really goes back to managing managers. But the reason that he was receptive is because, one, I have operated with a level of excellence and shown him that I know what I'm doing, right? So he trusts me. And that trust goes a very long way in every single relationship, and I'm sure you guys can attest to that, right? And because of that trust, I have the leverage to lead my team the way that I think is best. And of course, I spoke to my team about it. I never just make this decision on my own, because we want to be inclusive. That's critical. Nobody wants to feel excluded when they're a part of a team. And I tell my team all the time, there is no I in team, and one man outshine my team or the company, right? And that's critical, guys. Okay, let me get back to this. Career soon finish. Helping people is more important than making them happy. That's one of the hard things about being a leader. My girls can tell you, Lishan, she's here today. No. There are times when they come and they fight for their decision, and I'll be like, okay, I'll let you do it. But I'm going to tell you why it is that I don't think it's a good idea. I remember one time she asked me to sponsor this event, and I told her, nope, not going to happen. And she came back and she defended her case. And I said, all right, it's your brand. I just tell you, I think it's a good idea. And I'm going to remind you, these are the reasons I don't think it's a good idea. But go ahead. She was very excited. And for all the right reasons, she wanted to do the event, right? But so for me now, I'm very particular about who I align my brand with. My personal brand, my professional brand. So the companies that I work for, I protect them like they're mine, right? So we got to this press conference now for this event that is launching. And the first thing the artists get up on the stage and go, everybody know I don't drink that. And call my product name. Well, at this point, I'm sitting on the front row and all cameras are on me, and I had to just hold my composure. And I said to my team, I say, you see, right, sometimes you must listen, but sometimes you have to allow them to make their own mistakes so that they can learn from them. But you don't kick them under the bus, though, you know. So to my boss now, I'm going to go to my boss and say, yo, and me make the decision, you know. Because I'm going to stand behind her no matter what. I'm not going to throw her under the bus. Right? Because now she knows that I have her back and she's never going to be afraid to come to me, to talk to me about any decision that she wants to make or any other promotion that she wants to do. You can't instill fear in your team. They have to always be comfortable with you and they have to know that they have your support. Right? And if you're going to fail, make sure you're going to be there for hold them hand and help them up along the way as a leader. Right? Oh, this one I love. So John Maxwell has this theory, right, where he likes to talk about don't send ducks to the eagle work or to eagle school, right? What does that mean? Can a duck fly? But not like an eagle, it can't soar, right? And so ducks can fly, but it can probably fly like this high. And so his theory is that if you send a duck to eagle school, the eagles are going to be flying all the way up here, and the poor little duck's going to be down here, and they're going to feel like they're inadequate, right? But if you put a duck in his own environment, and he is swimming in his pond, and he's living his life, then he might go thrive, right? So you have to know your team. Know what their strengths and their weaknesses are, right? And make sure, and Solomon made reference to it earlier, make sure you have the right people in the right places. Because if you have the right people in the right places, they will thrive. But if you have a square peg, we love to say square peg in a round hole, then we are not really experiencing the greatness that they have because we as a leader weren't able to acknowledge what their capabilities are, right? So we have to know our team, guys, and we have to be able to identify where are the right places for them. Because that's what we do as leaders. We are there to help them along the way. And sometimes, like I said, we can't identify for ourselves, so we're depending on the people above us to help us to figure out what's our right fit, right? Okay. And I said it, know and value your people for who they are, and make sure you put them in the right places, and help to develop them. Like I said, Salah talked about the $15 million that he invested in training, right? Okay, so I'm going to close. But I want us to talk about climbing and connecting. I don't know what page that is in your workbook, but I want you to look at it, right? Some people think that climbing the ladder is more important than connecting with people, right? And it's so important to be able to do both, right? That is what a leader does. They learn to balance both. And if you look in your workbook, you'll see, right? Climbers think vertical. Connectors think horizontal. Climbers focus on position only. Connectors focus on relationship. Climbers value competition. Connectors value cooperation. You heard everybody that has come up here. You see how successful they are. And I bet when you hear Kareem going to say the same thing, your team is so important. The people that you align yourself with is so important. You heard PJ talk about partnership over and over again, right? It's not about you. You heard him. How many promoters him say come together? 11. You know Jamaican man, right? 11 Jamaican man with egos. Him talk about ego big, them bigger than this room. And for all of them to come together and collaborate and what it say? Cooperate to build something like Dream Entertainment. Guys, like Salah told you, they went from a weekend to a week, to a cruise, to being in Florida, Canada, Atlanta, all over the place. You think they could have done that by themselves? No. Climbers seek power. Connectors seek partnership. Climbers build their image. Connectors build consensus. Now, you can imagine if you come here and you get the buy-in of everybody in this room, what kind of movement you could create? As opposed to you one trying to do it by yourself? That don't make sense, right? Okay. So, like I said, balance is critical. Ooh. Well, I talked about influence earlier, right? Yes, I talked about influence earlier. One of the real reasons that we're here to lead is to give a voice to the people that don't have a voice, right? Because again, it's about bringing people up. Mother likes to say, send the elevator back down, right? Okay. And that's so important, guys. we talked earlier, Naomi said it, Rochelle said it. For us, giving back is critical. And that's one of the reasons that we did this. I mean, you see the M-Styles production. You think we can afford to pay for this? No. But we're so passionate about it because we see the need. We see the need, and we have been blessed to have that support system, to have that circle of genius or circles of genius around us that enable us to be able to do things like this. You think that Carrie and Solomon, you ever hear Carrie talk before? You ever hear Solomon talk before? Oh, you ever hear PJ talk before? Okay, trust me, that is from plenty years of relationship building, and thank God for our parents too in the process. All right, so everything else, I think you guys will be able to go through in the workbook. But I think one thing that is important is that we need to remember that as leaders, we're not here to do everything for our team, right? We're here to teach them and to guide them, but allow them to do it for themselves and make the decisions for themselves, right? So one of the things that John Maxwell loves to talk about is that your influence should be loaned, not given. And why is that? Because people need to establish their own influence. They need to be able to build their own space, right? But they're just using you as a guide to help them along the way, right? Some people take influence for granted. So, you might have lent somebody and you realize, boy, you kind of didn't need to take it back because them never really know the value of it, right? Some people don't understand the concept of helping others and using their influence to help others and to influence others, right? And that is so important. The same people that helped you along the way, they are expecting you to go and help other people along the way. And everybody loves to talk about mentorship, right? A big part of mentorship is holding people accountable. You see Solomon? Solomon hold me accountable for every single thing that I do. Everything I talk to him about, he'll call me and be like, yo, last week he called me and said, you called me last week and you talked to me about this, but me don't hear nothing else come from it. Right? Carrie held us accountable. When we went to Carrie and sat down with him and said, this is our vision and this is what we want to do. Actually, that's not true. When we spoke to him about this event, he said to us, what is your vision and what are you trying to accomplish? Right? And when we told him, he said, the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm holding you accountable for that vision. So next year, this time, all of these things supposed to have happened. Right? So he has now loaned us his influence. And you can imagine if we don't execute what we have told him we're going to execute, then forget about this. That is 30 odd years of friendship and family, for me, gone on drain. I can't jeopardize that. Right? And I'm going to leave you with this. You're supposed to expect good return on your loan. So everybody that you lend your influence to, like I said, you hold them accountable and make sure that whatever you gave them, they're giving it over 10 times, right? So I'm going to leave you guys. Thank you very, very much because I know we need to wrap.